Deportation has been so prevalent in the news lately, we've almost become immune to its effects on our society. Tonight, Pat will retell a century-old deportation story that affected an entire community and deeply underscored its relationship to power and powerlessness. Hopefully, it will provide some food for thought. Pat Whitfield speaks Deportation Then and Now, Power versus Powerlessness. Pat.
Actually, as it turns out, my theme is very much related to the concept of heroes and villains, which is our theme for this evening. That was purely coincidental. I'd like you all to imagine for a moment, let's go back a few years. We know that we're in Wenatchee, which is the apple capital of the world, right? And almost everyone in your families either works in the orchards or works in the fruit processing plants. But they're very dissatisfied with their conditions, and so they go on strike. This does not make the owner, who is the most powerful person in Wenatchee, because this person owns the orchards, owns the food packing plants, and is not happy with this situation, and furthermore is losing a lot of money. So he makes a deal with the sheriff to get rid of these disruptive people, many of whom are not from this country anyway, and are considered to be lesser than. They deputize 2,000 residents of the greater Wenatchee area to go out on a given date and arrest all the people on the list, because they've been deputized, they can arrest them, load them up on cattle cars, which haven't been cleaned, and there's several inches of animal feces in them. They take their cell phones, they take their money, and they ship them off to some godforsaken place in Montana. Would that be a disruption to our community? This actually happened in a place not known for apples, but a place known for mining, Bisbee, Arizona. Have any of you ever been to Bisbee and have seen the great, huge copper pit that's there? It's really scary. When you look over the edge, that is so deep. Well, here's what happened on July 12, 1917. The workers who belonged to a union representing them to the employers, the workers in the copper mines were very dissatisfied with their working conditions. They were concerned about danger. Blasting while there were miners in the mine was kind of a terrible thing. The accountability for the various jobs, which were assigned only to one person at a time and really needed two. The dwellings, their homes, were not very nice, and their situation was overall pretty pitiful. They were hoping to get a standard wage of a magnificent $6 an hour. In 1917, that would have been quite the thing. Now, the other historical piece that is going on, if you think about 1917, what was happening in the world? The war to end all wars. What finally happened is that the miners did not receive any of the benefits they were seeking, and as a result, they went on strike. Well, this made the president of Phelps Dodge, which was the major mining company, very angry, and he couldn't be in the situation of losing all of that money. So he created an arrangement with the sheriff in that particular county, and they deputized 2,000 people to go out from the list, go bring in the miners, also bring in the people who ran the ethnic grocery stores, and when they went there, they took not only the money and the people, but they also took all the grocery off the shelves. And it was pretty scary. The other thing you have to understand about the president of Phelps Dodge is that Phelps Dodge owned the only department store in town, the library, the mines, of course, and the newspapers. So you picture this whole bunch of people go out, they arrest all of these people, most of whom are ethnic minorities, they load them onto trains, and they ship them 200 miles away to a town in New Mexico. This is before cell phones and all of those kind of things, so they didn't have those kind of amenities. Meanwhile, back in Bisbee, nobody knew about it because they also owned the newspaper. They shut down the telegraph and the telephone, so the word didn't get out, and the world didn't know about this particular evacuation of the individuals who had worked in the mines. Well, the governor of New Mexico contacted the President of the United States, who was Woodrow Wilson, and said, we have 1,000 people here. Actually, there were 1,200. And we have to accommodate them somehow. And so the president said, okay, you can accommodate these people for at least 2 months so that they will be safe. What the president of Phelps Dodge did was create a press release, and this is what it said. A sheriff's posse of 1,200 men in Bisbee and 1,000 men in Douglas, this is a nearby town, all loyal Americans, had formed for the purpose of arresting on the charges of vagrancy, treason, and of being disturbers of the peace of Cochise County. All those strange men who have congregated here from other parts and sections for the purpose of harassing and intimidating all men who desire to pursue their daily toil. Okay, that was kind of a loaded press release, obviously very biased. Well, ultimately, the citizens were considered, or the ones who had been taken away, some of them were able to come back, but it was after the U.S. Department of Justice arrested 21 executives from Phelps Dodge. And all 21 of them were released because the federal district court said, and I quote, the U.S. Constitution did not empower the federal government to enforce the rights of the deportees, so there were no criminal proceedings against the individuals. A few workers who did return got payments from $500 to $1,250. But that was a tragedy that continued. And if you think about power versus powerlessness, the reason the deportations resonated with me is a couple of weeks ago, one of my students said she needed to be excused from class because she had to go to immigration court to translate for her grandmother, who has been in the United States for over 30 years from El Salvador and still has to keep going back. That struck my heart because over a year ago I was with a group of people from our community, from churches and organizations who gathered in the basement of what used to be our federal building outside the ICE office to just stand in silence for a woman who was about to be deported. We stood there in the dark, maybe some of you were in that group, but what that resonated for me was power and powerlessness. A powerless person who goes to one of those very frightening situations, and the power of silence and goodwill and strength rather than rioting and nastiness. Thank you.